One of the problems I found with brand new Barrette files is this edge right here is a flat edge. It doesn't have any teeth on it, but where the teeth are, the actual teeth come past that edge. So when you run that side of the file along your piece of jewelry, these teeth will actually leave a little scratch or a scar and mar your jewelry as you're working on it. So I like to prepare my files more like this area here where it's flat and the teeth come in a little bit, so that when you do run this edge along your jewelry, it doesn't scratch or mar your piece. So let's go to the bench and I'll show you how I do that. My all-time favorite file at the bench is called a Barrette file, and I use this so much that I actually mark my file so that it's easy to identify when it's sitting on the bench in a pile of files. I know that this one, or I've even got another one, that this one is my Barrette file because I use it so much that I need to quickly identify it. So there's a quick tip. If you have a favorite file, mark it in a way so you know exactly where it is. You look and you glance at your bench and you can say, oh, there it is right there because it's marked. Well, the first thing that happens when you get a new Barrette file is you'll notice that the edge here, and the neat thing about Barrette files is on the back side there's no teeth, and on the sides there's no teeth. So as you're working on a piece of jewelry, you can actually run that edge up against the jewelry and it won't leave a mark. Unfortunately, when they come from the factory, that edge is not prepared correctly and it will leave a mark. So if you look here, you can see that it leaves a mark when I'm running it. This is a brand new one. On mine, my altered ones, I prepared this edge so that if I'm running it alongside the jewelry, it doesn't leave a mark at all. And how I do that is, the first thing that I'll do is I'll take a fine separating disc, and I'm going to take the edge off of, or take the teeth off of this edge. And I want to do it not at like a 90-degree angle, but a little bit less. So if you look here, when they come from the factory, here's that edge, and then here's the teeth, and you can see that they stick out just a little bit past that flat edge. So what I like to do is prepare my edge here so that it comes down, and then right where the teeth start, there's a little bit of an angle that goes in rather than out. So if I run this edge along a piece of jewelry, the teeth do not affect it. So the first thing that I do is I'll take my fine separating disc and I'll run it along this edge, and not, if you can see, it's not at a 90-degree angle, but it's a little bit less than a 90-degree angle, so that those teeth are not at the same level as the edge. So I'll do that on both sides, and then how I'll check that to make sure that it's working is I'll just run at a 90-degree angle across my thumb. And if I can go across my thumbnail like this and not leave an edge, I know that that's properly prepared. I also like to prepare the top of the tip of the file with the same sanding disc. I'll just make it a little bit thinner because sometimes when you get them, they're a little bit thick there. I like to just trim that down a little bit so that it can get into tighter areas without the big, thick, bulky tip. So I trim this tip down just a little bit more so that it makes it easier to get into tight places. After I get the teeth where I want them, I'll take a piece of, just a regular piece of paper and a piece of yellow rouge, and I'll rub the yellow rouge on the paper, and I use a piece of plexiglass or glass just so that the back side of it is flat. And then what I'll do is I'll take this file and I'll run that along that edge that I just prepared, and I'll do that over the whole surface until that edge is nice and polished and shiny. So then what's happening is, you know that when you're working on your jewelry and you run this side along your jewelry, it's not cutting, but it's also burnishing because you've polished that edge there. So you know for sure that you're not damaging your jewelry when you're running your edge along your jewelry. So if you got like a design or something where your bezel comes up, you can run that file right up against that bezel and file it and know that you're not marring your bezel because you've prepared your file. So again, my favorite favorite file of all is a number 4 or a number 2 needle file Barrette. But when you get it from the factory, you need to prepare this edge before you use it. Otherwise, it might not be your favorite. But this is my go-to file in everything, just about.